How's it going? Wasn't I just here yesterday? I know I was. Long time no see. So, there is something going on, and I don't mean the X class solar flare, though I'm sure that that seems to be, it must be adding to what's going on right now. But we've had a lot of X class flares and a lot of solar flares as of recent, and I've never experienced what I am experiencing right now. So I thought I would get on there, get on here and share this, whatever this universal, fantastic, magnetic thing that is going on right now. So this did not start today with the solar flare. It started about 3 days ago, but it's getting incredibly stronger by the moment. And I'm wanting to see if anybody else is experiencing what I am currently experiencing. So there's a lot of examples, and I don't need to use them all. I think you'll get what I'm saying. But yesterday morning, I got up and was having coffee and writing in my journal, which is what I do every morning when I get up. And I'm sitting at the table here, and I put on this lady that does like tarot stories. It's a really awesome channel called Kate's Regretless Life. She just tells stories with tarot. It's so cool. So I put her on, I'm writing in my journal. The last word I wrote in my journal was the word sign. I turn on this reading, and the first thing in her first sentence that she said is sign. So I write down sign, and then she says sign. And then a 50-foot, 52-foot rig goes by the windows of my apartment. I don't know what company it was or anything, just all big letters, signs. So signs, signs, signs. Okay, this is happening a lot, but tonight really tripped me out. So I go into this restaurant. When I pull into the parking lot, there's only one other car in the entire restaurant. I have a white hatchback Civic. Okay. So I pull in the parking lot. There's only one other car. I go in. And do not take this in a racist way. I think you guys know that I love you. I don't care what your skin color is. Anybody that's my friend that's watching this knows this. This was just so bizarre that I wanted to talk about it. So when I walk into the restaurant, there's a guy standing maybe 6 feet from the counter. I'm not sure if they screwed up his food or he's waiting for something that needs to be dropped in the deep fryer. I've had that kind of job. I don't know. But he's standing there, and he keeps talking to the cashier. And then he starts like reaching over and helping the cashier. And I'm thinking, he's an employee and maybe he's just on break or something. And so he's like trying to help her. And I'm thinking, if you're an employee, you're going to have to go out and hide behind the garbage can, because if you're a valuable employee, I know this lesson well. If you're on break, you will be bothered no matter where you are unless you leave the building. So the lady behind the counter is paler than pale, right? I would say my complexion. The guy on the other side of the counter, and they're probably 19, 20, somewhere in there. So the girl behind the counter is really white, like me. The guy that is standing there talking to her, like I said, I originally think that he's an employee, and he's black. His skin is black. I don't know what nationality he was. He looked like he might have been a mix of maybe a couple of different races. Now, I didn't think anything about this at the time, but I get my food and I sit down, and when I turn around in the restaurant, the entire wall behind me, just this one wall, is all just black and white checkered, like the Matrix is the only thing I can kind of describe. So I keep getting these echoes in the Matrix. So I turn around in the restaurant, I see this black and white checkered Matrix looking wall. I look out the window at my white Civic, there is a black Civic right next to it. So I'm like, oh, black and white wall, black and white car. Okay. And so all this symbolism is running through my head, right? And then on the radio, some song by Madonna said black and white. So it was black and white at the counter, black and white on the wall, black and white with the vehicle, which is just a symbol for our body, and then black and white on the stereo. And it was like within seconds. So like there was this echo, like black and white, black and white, black and white, black and white. Well, then as I'm sitting here listening, because my hearing is off the charts, I'm listening to these two people talk across the counter at the restaurant, right? And I guess maybe it's his girlfriend, or if it's not his girlfriend, he's just hitting on her. And I thought, well, that's the first thing I saw when I came in, was someone that, again, I'm not talking about nationality or race. I'm talking about one person's really light complected, one person's really dark complected, then the black and white wall, the black and white car, then black and white overhead. And I'm thinking, this is a trip. And then as I'm driving back home from the restaurant, I'm like, that's when it hit me. Like, this has been going on, I would say, by looking at my journal, this has been going on for the past 3 days now. So anything that, not everything, but anything that's a significance, like anything that I would write down in my journal is going to be significant. This person's story on YouTube that she was telling was significant. So it's like there's an echo, and the echo, like, I don't know if it's my personal auric field, like my own personal matrix. I don't know if they unplugged the moon. I don't know. I don't know. Sorry, all you moon goddesses that aren't familiar with that, the true history of the moon. But anyway, I just wanted to get on here and share that. I don't know if anyone else is experiencing it. And like I said, I'm not sure if it's just happening to me in my own personal reality, but anything that stands out to me during my day is echoing 3 or 4 times every single time. Now, when I got home from the restaurant, I was like, I picked up the tarot cards and I'm like, maybe I'll just pull a couple cards and see what's going on, right? So before I even start the shuffle, the 6 of Cups falls out. And I talked about the 6 of Cups in my video for 4-4 yesterday, if you haven't watched that. So 6 of Cups is about 2 children, but it's, in its essence, it's about 2 people that are completely grown, but somehow their energy of each other, their connection to each other makes them feel this childlike joy and bliss and wonder, like when they were kids. And again, I had mentioned about this being a 6th year yesterday. And so the Ace of Cups, like I said, it's nostalgia from the past. It could be from somebody from last week. It could be somebody from 2,000 years ago. But that was the answer I got when I asked what was with all this black and white imagery. So it's very heavily bleeding through things from the past right now. And when I asked what this bleed through, what this echo in the matrix was, the 6 of Cups was the answer. There was some culmination at the end of this 26,000 year cycle about the lovers, about the 6 of Cups that's going on. And you can discern the black and white thing amongst yourselves or not. But this is happening so frequently, just to me, in the last 3 days. I'm super curious if it's going on with anyone else. When I asked, in what manner does this pertain to 6 of Cups, the past life connection, or that childlike bliss that you can feel in a relationship, the Queen of Cups comes out. And the Queen of Cups is, out of every card in the entire deck of 78, the Queen of Cups is the one that is capable of giving the absolute most love any heart could give. And not only that, the most emotionally open and forgiving, and in the flow, not holding on to grudges, knowing that a lot of times things happen, but they're for our evolution. And anybody that's on the first wave knows when something happens for your evolution, no matter what it is, no matter how traumatic it may feel to you, that we can still remain in the Queen of Cups. We can still be emotionally open and compassionate and give the most love. Because while at the end of the 26,000 year cycle, we're all experiencing major bleed throughs from other lifetimes, we're also being asked to really stay open hearted, stay open minded, stay in the flow, and just open to forgiveness. Because like I said, we're meeting people from the past. There's so many lessons and so many layers to every lesson. So stay open to that childhood love, that childhood bliss, that childhood feeling of being unstoppable. Stay really open to all that. And I ask, why do we want to stay open to that and be emotionally vulnerable with people, even if situations haven't turned out the way we thought they were going to, or turned out the way we wanted them to turn out? It's so important to stay in that energy of love, openness, and forgiveness, because people are coming back to settle things, to work things out, to give you closure on things. People are coming back for all kinds of reasons. So that's why we're being asked to stay open. And the last card I got was the Ten of Swords, which makes me feel kind of sick to my stomach whenever I look at it. Actually, I can't look at it for very long. It's so gruesome with the 10 swords. But swords are all about, as I talked about yesterday, all about being articulate, having ideas, and going with the ability to change things in our internal life and change things in our auric field and change things in our body. 10 is always the end of the cycle. It's at the end of the pain. It's the end of being caught in an idea, the end of being caught in the inability to make changes. We're being made to change, because as the 10 of Swords will tell you, this is the end of the cycle. As anybody who's done any kind of like studying on their own about cycles, you'll know, I think it's 25,542 years or something. It's not exactly 26,000 years, but it's close. So we're at the end of this 26,000 year cycle, and there's so many contracts that are coming to a close. So that's another reason people are coming back to you, is also to finish things off or to close things out with you. Now, in regards to that, if there's some kind of contract, you've made a legal contract in front of the law in this lifetime. This is so bizarre that this is coming out. Okay, but if you've made some sort of contractual agreement that no longer works for you, the Ten of Swords talks about ending that. Also know that there are a lot of contracts. I think you guys have a pretty high awareness of this, but there are a lot of contracts also that we made prior to coming in here, and that we may have been working on for a multitude of lifetimes as well. But do know, even though we made those contracts, you do not have to be in a place with a person where you don't feel cherished, where you don't feel loved, where you don't feel in your full readiness to shift, change, and shine out your brilliance to the world. So if you know, or you have a feeling that you made a past contract with someone and you feel like they don't want to fulfill it, or they're not aware of it, or it's never going to happen, whatever, I want you to know that you can initiate getting rid of that contract. So yes, sometimes we're talking about 3D contracts or things that are binding in 3D, but not always and not necessarily, because like I said, if it's a soul contract, everyone has free will. If a person doesn't want to do this thing that you have awareness of, call in something else. Call in someone else. You have the right to be happy and be free and be the empress, the goddess that you are. So anything that is not emotionally, physically, spiritually fulfilling you, you can reach out to, and it doesn't matter who, the universe, God, wherever your intuition takes you, you can reach out and not only ask to end said contract, right? If it's in the spiritual realms, or you know what I mean. But you can ask for a new person. You can ask for a new contract if you want to. So I wanted you to know that that's important. I see, and this is why I'm so hesitant to talk about divine partnerships and twin flames and stuff, because people are so emotional and so hurt and so distraught over things, especially things they say. So I'm just telling you from my experience and other people on the first wave, you at any time, whether it's a 3D contract that you made in this lifetime with complete recollection of, or something from a past life or before life, some kind of spiritual contract or soul contract you made, if it's not fulfilling you, if it's not loving you, if it's not cherishing you, and if it's not treating you like the Empress, you can call in any kind of new anything that you want. As you, no matter what happens with other people, we have to stay in our goddess energy. We have to stay in our Empress energy, in our divine feminine energy. We can't be pulled out of that by ourselves or by our neighbors or by our partner, or by any kind of fulfilled or unfulfilled contract. I love you guys. Until next time, as always, you know, to be continued. Bye.